everybody. Today's weekly wisdom is going to be a little different because I decided to change things up. So this time I want to talk about consultations. I want to talk about being clear with your clients or being clear with your stylist, either or, if you're watching this as a stylist or as a client. I just want to be clear about consultations and what goes into having a proper consultation with the client. So first things first, making sure you're introducing yourself, giving a brief introduction, letting them know, hey, this is me, this is what I do, how are you? Keep it simple, but also be friendly, be happy, because really each client, I feel, can go to anybody to get their hair done. They decide to go to you to see if you all vibe. And if you vibe together, then that's good. Okay, so the first thing we want to start off when we're doing a consultation is I want to hear your ideas. I want to hear your hair history. I want to see what it is that you're wanting to bring to the table. Like, who do you want to be? How do you want to express yourself? So these are important questions because depending on what you're wanting to do, it may not fit in with your lifestyle. And that's where I become the hair translator for you and decide, okay, is this something feasible for you? Is it viable for you? Is it something that you yourself can maintain in the long term? Yeah, it really comes down to inspiration photos. Inspiration photos really help to give me a visual of what it is that you're wanting. That way, we're both looking at the same image. Now, be mindful, this can also be a drawback because I may look at a picture and see highlights, and you may look at a picture and see lowlights. Or even vice versa. So making sure we're using clear, understandable language between the two. So like saying like, hey, I really like the way this looks. Or, oh, do you like how these highlights look? Or do you like how these layers look in a picture? Because sometimes people don't see the same thing if they see the same picture. So it's good to be clear and concise about it. Otherwise there can be mix-ups and there can be some confusion in the consultation process. And then all of a sudden you're like, why are they putting foils in my hair? I just wanted like some brown pieces. And it gets very confusing. And then so when it comes to hair history, so I wish we had a magic wand where we could just, swish and flick and all of a sudden your hair is amazing. However, depending on what happens with the hair, if you use things like metallic based dyes or things like henna that are more of a natural substance, a lot of times it can react to certain chemicals. So being clear and concise about what you're using in your hair or what you have used is also really, really important because at the end of the day, we do not want to destroy your hair. We do not want to mess up your hair. We want to make sure we're giving you an end goal that we can with your hair. Without damaging it, of course, or without damaging it as much. And if we do damage it, we want to make sure we have the, avenues to be able to prevent excess damage or even reverse damage using hair treatments like Olaplex or K18. So being sure to be clear and concise about your hair history, color you've had it before. We're not going to be mad at you if you're like, oh, like I did color it last week, or I colored it the day before yesterday, or colored it 3 months ago. And sometimes you don't remember, which is totally fine, because then as the professional, we need to go in and do a test strand so that way we can see what exactly is lying underneath. And many different factors can affect the hair's result when it comes to color. Because sometimes it's the medication you're taking, it's how your body's like responding to different illnesses or different situations like chemical changes in the body, whether it's puberty or pregnancy or anything like that. The body changes and it reacts. So being there and being able to observe that is our job. And granted, even if you may not remember something like, oh, like that's right, I did get a color 3 months ago. It's on the stylist to not chastise you for that, first off, because sometimes, honestly, you don't remember. I forget what I ate yesterday, honestly. So we can't always be expected to remember, and people aren't perfect, so making sure to follow through and do that cross-check, do that test strand, just to make sure the hair's not going to melt, or the hair's not going to smoke or burst into flames. Granted, it can burst into flames, but it can get really hot, so you got to be careful because when a metallic heats up, or metals heat up, they do cause a chemical reaction and it can cause burning. So we want to be careful with that. So that leads me into my next point is expertise. So as a professional, as a licensed professional, as a cosmetologist, or even certified barber, it is my job to use my expertise to determine how we're going to reach the end result. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to transform your ideas into reality. And so from there, I'm the translator of, okay, this is what you're wanting. All right, this is the avenue we need to take to get it. And being realistic with you as far as like, hey, you know what, we can do this in one sitting. You don't have anything in your hair, totally fine. But there's also the realism of, you know what, your hair is quite dark and you do want this lighter end result. That can be an issue, or that could take some time. I feel like nothing is impossible. Most things just take time. And it's all a matter of, budget, of how much damage your hair can take, which of course, me as the professional, it's up to me to decide, like, okay, is this something we can proceed forward with? But also I need to communicate that clearly with the client. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad end result. The color's not going to come out right. It's going to come out to something completely different. Communication is honestly the key when it comes to discussing transformations. And this is all in the consultation. So within the first maybe 15 to 30 minutes of your service. So making sure we're having that full conversation before we actually get started is definitely important. So the next part would be collaborating with the client. So if they're like, hey, I really love this red color, I want red, everything red, make it all red. But they have a lot of pink and red undertones. So it is up to me as the professional to come in and say, hey, this is going to cause this issue. Like if we make your hair bright, fiery red, it could make your hair really pink or really red. Or if we make your hair green, it's going to make your skin like more of the yellow tones come out. Or even more of the red tones too sometimes. Like it really depends on the color theory of it and giving clear expectations of what it will look like on them. Because I'm not really one to be like, oh, you come into me, you show me a picture, this is what you want. Like, yes, I want to give you what you want, but I also want to be like clear with you if I feel like that won't work for your face shape, if it's a haircut or bangs, or if it's going to be a bit more troublesome for you to style and you've already said I only have a set amount of time to get ready, I don't have time to fully sit down and do my whole hair and style and this and that, or I don't have the funds to maintain this and get the reparative treatments and keep up on the longevity of this color, because sometimes some colors require more maintenance. More lived-in colors can be achieved, but that's where the consultation comes in, is being clear and concise on what you want the end result to be, what you want the maintenance to look like. Are you wanting to come in every 6 to 8 weeks, or are you wanting to come in every 16 to 20 weeks? Like, what are you looking at in the long run? And I feel like it's very important as a stylist to have that conversation, because some clients aren't going to come in every 6 weeks. They're not going to come in every 4 weeks, whether it's for a haircut or trim or a color. Some people just don't have that in their budget, which is completely fine. But there are ways and avenues to make it to where, a cut can grow out in a way that's going to be healthy for the hair. Granted, you'd still want to get a trim at least once every 8 weeks at least, because that's when the hair ends start to split. That's whenever you start to shed a little bit more. We'll get into that later, but a lot of times the consultation is where we would come together and collaborate, so that way we can then come up with an end result that's perfect for the client or you, depending on who's watching. So in conclusion, conversation breeds transformation. So making sure we're being clear and concise in our consultations, making sure we're having a full conversation with our client or with your stylist, making sure that I'm understanding what your needs are and understanding what you want your end result to be. But also too, if you don't understand hair, that's fine. That's what I'm here for. I'm the translator for your hair. I'm the one who tells you, oh yeah, well that's not a highlight, it's a balayage. But of course, I don't want to overcorrect you or anything like that, because honestly, verbiage is a whole nother conversation, because verbiage becomes so nuanced. Like, I'll get into it later. But yes, just making sure we're having that conversation, making sure we're building that trust and having that understanding. Visual references, perfect. Having realistic expectations is important. And also just understanding the process. Over-explain. Some people love to hear every single detail about the process and how you're going to reach the end result. And honestly, as a professional, it shows you know your craft. So being able to explain from top to bottom the why of why you are doing this process to reach this end result will honestly help to build that trust and that understanding, because you become an expert in your craft. So That's my weekly wisdom for this week. I am Gabriel Vela, and I work here at Obscura Hair Studio at 600 North Tejon Street in downtown Colorado Springs. Let me know if you have any hair questions, any specific topics for me to go over. I do these weekly wisdom videos every week, so please share with me if you have any comments, questions, concerns. If you want to know about your hair, I'm open to consultations through Messenger or through Instagram chat. Just let me know, reach out to me. I'm always open to talking about hair. Yeah, just let me know. Aside from that, we'll see you next week. Stay magical. Hello? Hello? No kidding. Is the bus still running? Hello, everybody. Oh, let me see. I don't know why I'm moving so much. Okay. Let me see. Am I centered? Am I centered? Okay. Maybe. Excuse me. Okay. We're back. Oh, the closest. Maybe I should have actually written this down.